Welcome to the History Center's virtual tour exhibits. My name is Kevin Whaley. I am the collections manager here at the History Center, and I will be guiding you through our Traveling While Black exhibit today. Thank you for stopping by. So our Traveling While Black exhibit looks at the Green Book, which was a travel guide for African Americans in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. The Green Book was originally made by Victor Green, who was an African American who lived in New York City and wrote this guide using family and friends to kind of look at different travel places he could stop at throughout the United States. Traveling in the United States was a little bit different than it is today. First of all, roads were small, narrow, two-lane roads instead of the interstates you think of today. Cars often broke down more frequently, as well as there wasn't as many stops along the way. So travel was just a little bit different. You also didn't have a GPS. In addition to that, African Americans traveled was a little bit harder. During this time, segregation was still in place in the United States, and so African Americans could not stop everywhere that you could stop now like it is today. In addition to segregation, there also was sundown towns, and these were towns which African Americans could not stay in after dark and had to be out of the city limits by dark. In addition to that, there's also police harassment that took place during this time, in which police officers would often just pull over African Americans and harass them or beat them up for little to no reason, and would question where they got this car from, or if they stole the car, etc. And this was all in addition to segregation. And for segregation, we'll look at hotels and gas stations, which were two of the main focal points of segregation during this time. The Green Book covered different places where African Americans could stay, and would tell them which places were safe and which places weren't safe. In addition to the Green Book, African Americans would often plan out different stopping spots along the way that would tell them which way they could go, the routes they would plan out with their family and friends before the trip, trying to avoid certain towns they knew were bad and knew were off limits to them. We come over here, we can look at a case that has some different items from a car during this time. So you would have extra oil as well as a tire jack. In addition to this, you would also carry things like spark plugs, tire repair kits, so the extra patches, glue, things like that to make sure that you could fix your car on the road. AAA didn't exist at this time. There was no roadside service. You had to be able to fix your own car or hope another motorist would stop and help you. In addition to this, like I said before, GPSs weren't a thing. You actually had to use an old hand map, a physical copy of the map. And a lot of times people would have these fancy map books made for them that would cover and would be able to store their maps in there. They'd often monogram them with their names. Kind of a fancy way to do things. So as I said before, gas stations were one of the places where segregation was very obvious and very clear. We have a story from one of our local residents here in Rochester who, while she was traveling, her and her husband stopped at a gas station and asked if they had facilities, and she was told, no, we don't have anything for your kind. And this kind of really resonated with her, and it was kind of a moment that kind of was eye-opening for her about the different segregation in the town. Though not all gas stations were like this, Esso was known to be a black-friendly brand, and that also had a number of black gas station workers working there. So certain gas stations were more open and free. Gas stations also are a little bit different than you think of today. Gas stations in the 1940s and 50s were more full service affairs. They would do everything for you. They would check your tires, pump your gas, check your oil, etc. Whereas today, gas stations you think of, it's just self-service. You show up and they give you pump your own gas and you leave. So segregation and racism is often something that's thought of during the South during this time. It's actually not the case. It was also prevalent in the North. And the Green Book covered the whole United States, not just one region, it was the whole United States. Here in Rochester, there was some racism. You can see from the collage over there that this is headlines all from the Post-Bulletin here in Rochester about different acts of racism throughout the United States and some in Rochester. The big article here is actually about cross burning and egg throwing during a civil rights march here in Rochester. The cross burning took place right outside the Avalon Hotel, which we'll be covering next.